Jesse Gordon from the Randolph Dems and Kathy Tuffy from the Braintree Dems, and this is our County Commissioner Democratic primary meet and greet. We have 2 attendee candidates so far. We expect Dennis Guilfoyle to join any minute. We have Mr. Staiti and Mr. Ryan joining, and I just see appearing Ms. Connolly from the Holbrook Dems. So why don't we start with introductions? Ms. Tuffy and Ms. Connolly, if you'd like to say some introductory remarks, and then we'll go to Mr. Staiti for a 5-minute intro and summary, and then to Mr. Ryan.
No, Mr. Ryan's supposed to go first.
I think Mr. Guilfoyle is actually supposed to go first, but well, he's not here yet. So
let me just I did send out an email to the participants that we would go in alphabetical order, but it really doesn't matter for these opening statements. The way we would like to do this is for you each to give an opening statement, and then we'll open up to questions. We are recording this, and it will be shared on our social media networks. So, Mr. Ryan, would you like to go first? Or...
Okay, Kathy, thank you very much. How much time do we have for the opening statements?
I think about 5 minutes or so, and then we have register of probate coming in at 3:15, so we want to make sure that we have time to talk about the job and your qualifications for it. So go ahead.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Thank you, Jesse. And I want to thank the Braintree, Randolph, and Holbrook Town Democratic Committees for hosting us today. Thank you very much on a beautiful Saturday. My name is Charles Ryan, and I am a candidate for Norfolk County Commissioner. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am a Braintree Town Councilor. I've been on the Braintree Town Council since its inception 13 years ago. I'm an original councilor. Before that, I was a selectman in Braintree for 4 years. And before that, I started off my elected position in Braintree as a water and sewer commissioner. That's how I got involved with the town. I'm also a member of the Norfolk County Advisory Board, which is the legislative body of Norfolk County. I've been on the advisory board for the past 16 years. So I have some good experience with county government. A little bit more about myself is I have an engineering degree from Mass Maritime Academy, and I have my master's in business administration from the University of Massachusetts, Boston. I am a lifelong Democrat. I've been in the Braintree Democratic Town Committee committee, for the past about 20 years. A proud Democrat. I have been lucky enough to have been endorsed by the Norfolk County Central Labor Council, which is the organization that represents union members and unions throughout Norfolk County. And I'm very happy to have been endorsed by them. I'm a strong advocate for working men and women, especially in the union trades. I think they are really representative of the people that live in Norfolk County. So I'm very proud of that endorsement. I'm also my professional career. I'm the director of wastewater operations and maintenance for the Massachusetts Water Resources Authority. So in that capacity, I've worked there for 33 years. I oversee a staff of approximately 200 employees in operations, maintenance, and engineering. And they do many of the same things that the staff at Norfolk County do. At Norfolk County, we have an engineering and maintenance department, so I'm very familiar with some of the best practices for the work that's done in the county as well. A little bit more about me. I'm a single parent. I have 2 boys that live with me all the time, 2 young men. My sons, Matthew and Joseph Ryan. One of my sons has Asperger's syndrome. So I've been involved in Braintree with the Special Education Parents Advisory Council, and I got involved with that to try to make a better place for my son, Matthew, and for others on the autism spectrum in the town of Braintree. We have a wonderful community in Braintree. It's for inclusionary, we're an inclusionary community. Some of the issues I think for Norfolk County, I think we need to focus on finances because of coronavirus. We're going to be looking at financial impacts to the county budget. And I think being on the advisory board for the past 16 years, I have a master's degree. I have extensive experience on the job with current expense budgets and capital budgets. I think I'm well suited to do that. I think we need to have a 5-year capital plan for county government, for our county buildings. We need to work a plan and plan the work. If you don't take care of the buildings, small problems can very quickly become bigger problems. So as an engineer, I think I'm well suited to do that. I think the agricultural high school and the President's recreational facilities are both jewels of Norfolk County, and we need to invest and take care of those assets as well. So again, thank you for having us here today. My name is Charlie Ryan. You can vote early or you can vote on September 1st. You have 2 votes for county commission. I respectfully ask for one of those votes, and I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charlie. Richard, would you like to go next?
My pleasure. Thank you, everyone. And again, thank you for all putting this together. I appreciate the opportunity. My name is Richardstady Jesse. No problem with the name. It's been handled all sorts of ways over the years. When my grandparents came here from the old country, shall I say, it was probably pronounced Staiti. And today somebody out in the campaign trail said, "How do you say it? Is it Staiti?" And I said, no, it's like the state trooper. I guess that might get me a vote. It might not. I don't know. But Staiti, that's how it's gone. Actually, I've got some connections to Randolph. I know we're talking to Holbrook too, but and Braintree, of course. But my Uncle Joe was a barber for many years in Braintree, lived on Oak Street, cut a lot of hair. And also my cousin Joey was a football player of some renown, played at for Randolph High School way back. And then they moved out west. But many a Sunday was spent in Randolph, having Sunday dinner and getting to know that area. And of course, spending some fond memories in Randolph. Quick recap on my background. I serve right now in Canton as the town moderator. I've had that position about 20 years. That's an elected position. Prior to that, I was on the select board for 9 years before leaving to attend to law school and finish my degree at Suffolk University. I'm also a member, like my predecessor, of the Norfolk County Advisory Board. And I've been on there actually a little longer than him, a little bit longer, but we both served and we both have a lot of knowledge on the county. I actually have had the pleasure and honor of serving as chairman of that board. But I do have a good knowledge of the county operation and the overall expenses of what the county has to offer. Also for my education, I graduated of Stonehill College, a bachelor's degree in science. I have a master's degree in education, and as I mentioned, a law degree from Suffolk University. I can spend some time talking about my platform. I know it's Saturday and you probably have other candidates waiting to go. So I'm going to very quickly touch on that. I'm going to ask you politely to check out my website. It's www.votestatycommissioner.com. I've been saying all along in this campaign that we do need to promote more renewable source of energy. We need to have a good close look at where we can do it. I understand the commissioners are undertaking that now in Walpole, but I'd like to see it other places as well. So we do want to have expansion of solar energy for 2 reasons. It's green, it's clean, and it can get revenue as well. I've got familiarity in Canton. We did a great project that raised a lot of revenue for the town of Canton, and I'd like to see that modeled in other places as well. I'm a big proponent of regionalization. Again, I think there's some things we can do in the county, both as a facilitator and also as a provider. One of the things I'm very proud to point to is one that actually Holbrook participates in. We have a regional civilian dispatch system, which I worked on many years ago, and I know that it includes Canton, Sharon, Holbrook, and a few other towns outside of the county. But I'm a big proponent of that in terms of where we can provide essential services and save some money. And I think obviously, as other candidates have said, we need to rebuild. We need to look at how we can keep programs going, and we can get things done in terms of on a regular program, and despite the economic throes we're in. But there's another issue I want to spend some time on. I think that to be humble and forthright, no one's talked about it. No one has mentioned it in this whole campaign. We've talked about the pandemic. We've talked about the economic problems we're having because of the pandemic, but we'd be remiss if we did not touch upon and talk about the social issues that are facing our country today. Certainly, it goes without question that if we don't address in some way the issues of Black Lives Matter and social issues, we'd be remiss. And I think I want to address that now with you today. First of all, I think it goes beyond law enforcement. I'm watching very carefully, I think we all are, but I'm watching very carefully the different bills that are passed in the House and the Senate. And I think that's something that, we're going to be as watching. I've attended vigils. I would hope that my colleagues have done that. I've attended rallies and stood out. But I've done, I think, a little bit more, and I think I'd like to talk about that now. I'm involved in something called the Innocence Project. I've involved myself as a lawyer helping minority candidates to obtain achievement and applications successful in Brockton and other communities. I've also been a volunteer teacher at the Labor Guild, which is an organization that runs itself out of Braintree, and it promotes social justice. So those are things that I've been involved with, and not just like because I ran for county commissioner. I've been doing it for the last year or so, 2 years. There's another component also I think that bears watching, and that is the healthcare aspect. There's a sort access to healthcare is a serious issue now, and we're seeing more and more challenges in that area as well. Certainly, if you look around, Morton Maternity is now closed. Norwood is closed. I think Quincy's soon to close. And so access to healthcare is going to be more and more of a challenge, and I think we need to address that. Again, what have I done as a candidate? I'm proud to say that I've stood shoulder to shoulder with members of the Mass Nurses Association, with those nurses, on lines, on vigils, trying to fight to promote healthcare and keep healthcare accessible and open to all people. I'm also following very closely the Brockton Healthcare Equity Task Force set up by the Mayor, Mayor Sullivan, and seeing what could be implemented here in our county. And third, as a longtime teacher and a retired one of the Mass Teachers Association, I'm concerned, of course, about education, not just at the Aggie School, but across the county. There are some statistics that say they're staggering about the loss of learning, particularly among children in the Black and brown community. Again, I think we need to look carefully at that, and I think we need to look at programs like Massachusetts Jobs for Justice and promote those where we can. I think you can step back and say, well, wait a minute, what's this got to do with county commission? Maybe nothing. I disagree, respectfully. I think it has everything to do with it. I want to change the role of county commissioner. I think COVID has told us to think outside the box. I think we have to redefine this office. I think we need voices at every level of government now, at the local, at the state, at the federal, and the county, to be a voice for justice, to be a voice for difference, to be a voice for change. And I want to be that voice for you. Bobby Kennedy said a long time ago, there are people that, dream things and, they question why. Others kind of say, why not? I'm that kind of a person. I want to put my talent in education and in government and my desire for change to work for you. And I hope that on election day, you will cast one vote of the two you have for Richardstady for county commissioner. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dennis Guilfoyle, our third candidate, has joined our meeting. Dennis, can you unmute yourself? And
I did. I apologize. Yeah, technical difficulties on my computer, so I had to go to the phone.
okay, thank you.
Guys, for that.
Yep. So we're just candidates are just introducing themselves and telling us why they are most qualified to be the next Norfolk County Commissioner.
Thank you so much. Well, my name's Dennis Guilfoyle. I'm a lifelong resident. I've been involved in the community since my high school years. I started out starting a neighborhood association. I had the first privately funded playground built in Dedham. I moved on to the Parks and Rec, where I served for 3 years. And those 3 years, I was vice chair and chairman. I then moved on to the Register of Voters here in Dedham for over 9 years. And then I'm just finishing up my 6.5-year term in the Board of Selectmen, where I was 2.5 years as chairman. I was getting off the Board of Selectmen to make speak for county commissioner. And as we all know, with COVID-19, I ended up on there for 4.5 months, getting off in April. We ended up just getting off at the beginning of August. So I think I bring a great point of leadership to the county commission. I believe I can forward, and I round out county government, and I want to push for more transparency of county government. And also, I would like to promote throughout the communities, 28 towns and cities, what we can do to help community and what we can do to help the constituents. And also try to get a better handle explaining of what county commissioners do in county government. I think there's a big partnership there that's being left behind, that a lot of people just don't know what county government does. I spent almost 28 years with the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department, 21 as an officer, and then I became legislative advisor to the sheriff on union affairs and legislative affairs. And since then, I've worked with it. I was over by county government, by the state. We lost out on county government. I do feel that sometimes big government shadows hurts small government. I would hate to see that happen in the future here. As you know, the county government is almost the same as a select board, and I think I can bring that knowledge to help them move.
Thank you, Dennis. So I think Dennis brings up a good point that many people don't understand what the job of county commissioner entails. Richard, could you just explain to us what you think, what your definition of a job of a county commissioner is, and what you oversee?
Well, as I tried to say, I'm trying to be a little different. I don't want to define it as it is. I want to expand the role. I want the county commissioner to be more of a statesman and take issues that perhaps are beyond what they've done before. But traditionally, Kathy, we've had the role of organizing and make sure the buildings are maintained. We have, of course, the role of the engineering department, as someone already said. They have obviously supervision of the golf course as a recreational facility, which I'd like to see expanded and upgraded. And of course, they're also trustees of the Norfolk Aggie School, which I feel as an educator, I've got great insight on and can contribute quite a bit. I think there are other responsibilities that they have in terms of working with the retirement board. Indirectly, they do that because they appoint one of the members to serve on the retirement board. So they do have a role in terms of dealing with the upcoming and growing unfunded pension liability. That's an issue, an indirect one. They also play a role in other areas. For example, they work with the registry of deeds and the registry of probate. And sometimes they work even with the DA's office. I think there's a lot they can do. And I think also the sheriff's office used to be with the county commissioners. Now they've broken away. But again, if you go back to what I was trying to say about social justice, I'd like to see implemented a zero tolerance policy that working with the sheriffs, we want to get that implemented and in place. And that would be perhaps one of the first things I'd like to do as a policy. So yeah, they have to maintain the court buildings, the golf course, there's the Aggie School, there's the engineering, there's things like that. County Commission has been under the radar. I've never seen so much discussion actually in years because of all the candidates, and it's a great thing. But I'd like to see the role of the commissioner expanded as well. Hope I get most of it.
Thank you, Charlie. Could you talk about the role of county commissioner? I think Richard did a good overview. Perhaps you could expand on that.
Sure. Thank you, Kathy. So as I travel throughout Norfolk County campaigning for office, that's the $64,000 question. Everybody says, Charlie, what does a county commissioner do? A lot of folks don't know what county commissioners do. And county commissioners, they oversee, they manage county government, and the main focus is on the Norfolk County Agricultural High School, the President's, the Walston Recreational Facility, and the main thing is the courthouses, operating and maintaining the courthouses for Norfolk County. And to me, and then all the staff, there's a maintenance staff and an engineering staff and administrative staff as well. So they oversee all the staff and all those functions. maintaining the buildings. As I've been on the Norfolk County Advisory Board for 16 years, having a good capital program in place for the building, I think, is one of the most important things that a county commissioner does. And I have that type of experience in my job. So I'd like to see us come up with a 5-year capital plan and make sure that's a living plan that gets updated every year. And a lot of thought goes into it. So that is a big job for the county commissioners. Staff, negotiating contracts with the staff. I have very solid experience with collective bargaining agreements and making sure we negotiate in good faith. And that's going to be important because we are heading for tough financial times, planning, work, and budgeting. So those are all jobs of the county commissioners. I think if I'm lucky enough to get elected as a county commissioner, I'm going to travel throughout the 28 cities and towns. I'm going to make a big effort to do that my first year in office and educate people, go to different towns, the selectmen meetings, the council meetings, and let people know what we do and what benefits we can offer to each individual town. And I think that's important so people understand better what the county commissioners do. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Charlie. Dennis, would you like to talk a little bit more about the role of the Norfolk County Commissioner and what and expand on what Charlie and Dennis have said?
Yeah, and Richard, yeah, my colleagues, they've summed up quite a bit of, like I said at the beginning, it's very important for us to go forward and to go to the communities. And I don't want to steal line from one of the candidates, but we do it in the town of Dedham. We do different locations to go and have the meetings in different communities. We do it in different precincts in Dedham, but I think that's something that we could do very much so. And as I said in my opening statement, it's very, very important for us to tell everybody what we're doing and where we're going with to do. I have vast experience in also. I have a lot of experience in maintenance division. I worked for MIT facilities department. I think there's a lot of things we can do, but education and transparency is going to be huge. And then we also are going to have, big budget problems and big budget restraint problems that we're going to have to work on. And that's going to be the tough part. A lot of these meetings that we've gone to, one of the biggest thing is the finances and how that's going to come forward. So I think those are some of the big trying tasks we're going to have to do. And I also believe that it's our job to educate people. It's our job for transparency. The advisory board, we make sure that's transparent also. And I don't think that has been as transparent as the commissioners have been. And I think there's a lot of room for improvement there and a lot of modernization that could happen also. So those are some of the things that I like to do. I just don't keep repeating.
Thank you.
In and out, but thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the candidates?
Sure, I'll ask one on behalf of the Randolph Dems. This came up at our recent Randolph Dems barbecue event, asked by Democratic State Committeeman Kevin Coleman Joyce. He'd like to know your opinion of shutting down the county government, as has been done in half of the counties in Massachusetts a couple of decades ago. And would you agree with that as a reasonable plan? And if so, how would you help participate it? Or if not, why not?
Well, I think we're probably going to be unanimous on this. We all believe in county government. That's why we're running for county commissioner. We each have our own particular talents and our skills in terms of why we want to keep it going. But I can just tell you that with the person with the longest experience on the advisory board, by a little bit, the county is well run. It really is. Norfolk County should be proud of the fact that you have good people in terms of legislators, both at the State House and in terms of the county, who represent you as best they can. And so overall, it's well run compared to other counties that were poorly run. And that was one of the reasons why they shut down and they were taken over. Can it be improved? Of course it can. Do we need to adapt? Yes, we do. And as others have said, we need to increase our transparency and our movement around the county. And we need to address, of course, the decline in revenue. That's going to be the big challenge. I think before we start looking about shutting it down, or shutting down anything, before you eliminate any program, you're going to make sure you have a plan in place to take its place. That's my answer to that. You don't just go around cutting things and say, we're going to cut. Before you cut something on a town, as a selectman, I knew for a fact, when I cut something out, I had to make sure I had some other way to deliver service to people. Plain and simple, as easy as I can make it. So if you're going to start eliminating county government, you better have a plan in place. Am I for it? No, absolutely not. I want county government to stay. I think it plays a role. I think we can expand it, as I mentioned, with regionalization, and I hope it will stay for here to, in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't want to repeat everything Mr. Staiti said, but I agree with him. I think Norfolk County is very well run. That's why it's still in existence. We have good government in Norfolk County. I think that we can make, it can be improved. I'm not talking about drastic improvements. I believe in incremental improvement. I believe in paying attention to how we do our job. And if I'm lucky enough to get elected as county commissioner, I'm going to be part of the management and oversight of county government every day. I'm going to pay close attention. I'm going to try to make little improvements every day and try to, you look back and you can say over time that we've done a good job making improvements. So I don't think there's, I'm not going to try to get elected and go and start knocking down walls, but, just little improvements every day. And I think I agree with what Mr. Staiti said, regionalization, that's where we can get good bang for our buck. If we can try to look at some of the smaller communities benefiting from a larger collaborative, and that's where county government can have its best effect on the 28 cities and towns in Norfolk County. So I am a proponent of county government, and I would not want to abolish it. Thank you.
Yes, I agree with the two gentlemen as well. I'm not against. I'm dead against getting county government. As I said earlier, I was part of. My employment was taken over by the state, and as we said, when you decam projects and this and that, sometimes bigger government slows you down even worse. If we need a roof done and we need something big done, we now go into line with everything else in the state. We want to flourish. We don't want to be the Norfolk Aggie funding to be cut out because they have to give it somewhere else in the state. We don't want to have the golf course lose funding because it's down the line in the state. Sometimes big government can take us out. As I said in examples in the past, this is healthcare. I worked for the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department. Healthcare was there. I had the same exact plan. And when we got taken over by the GIC, stayed with everything, with state funding, and everything went drastically up in cost. I sat with the Senate president, and we went over everything, and it was down to me to find out that with a pool more people in the healthcare system, the cost went up, and the cost wasn't necessarily a savings for the Commonwealth. So, and as everyone here, in being in local government, we know that healthcare is one of the most trying feats that we have to fight. It goes up, and it's in the small town of Dedham. We've gone up to the town's cost $1 million a year for the last 3 years. So sometimes bigger government just doesn't get the job done, and what we'll do is lose some of the beautiful entities that we have, and we don't want to do that. We want to stay right where we are, keep pushing forward, make it a better county every single day. And we have a great team out there also with the treasurer in the registry of deeds. And I think myself being on the board as a commissioner, I can help bring everybody back in together and make it a giant, great working team along with the advisory board in the probate and the DA, the sheriff. It's all part of county government. And I just need to bring it all back into the center and really work together as a team and get out there and let people know what Norfolk County has to offer and what we think we can offer. So I'm full bore on keeping county government.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions before we go to closing statements? We have the probate people at 3:15. So is there
It
anyone
gives
else?
4 minutes for closing statements each.
So,
4 minutes.
would we, Dennis, do you want to start?
Sure.
We'll go in reverse order for closing that we did
Sure.
for opening.
No, like just to go back to where we started. Once again, I'm Dennis Guilfoyle, lifelong resident of Dedham. I spent a great time in town government, excuse me. And then I have a lovely wife and 2 beautiful children that I'm very proud of. I have a great career with the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department. I've been a labor leader out of my 21 years in office, and 19 of them I was either elected or appointed to the union, fighting for fair, good health care and working conditions. I established a nonprofit group that did a lot of great things for the town of Dedham, not costing the town of Dedham. I moved on to becoming elected, and then going to the registry and being elected again as a selectman. As selectman, we've done some major great things here in Dedham. We're in the top 10 of funding for our retirement plan. We're very aggressive on paying into the retirement. We also have done a great thing with zoning. We've done a lot of arts overlay district where I chaired, and it gives struggling artists a chance to use their residence as a commercial to sell and to make a living. I belong to many public groups. I did a lot of sports. I've coached just about every sport in Dedham. I've big with the American Legion. I'm past commander of the Sons of the American Legion. I'm also past vice commander of District 6 State Legion. I work with all the veterans. I'm a member of the Elks, a member of the Knights of Columbus, and go on. If you want to find out any more about me, you can go to dennis-guilfoyle.org, or you can go to Dennis Guilfoyle for Norfolk County Commissioner on Facebook. And more importantly than anything, I please ask for one of your votes on September 1st or now, an early voting, which started today. We were out at the polls earlier, and then also through the mail. So thank you very much for this opportunity. It's been a pleasure, and good luck and be safe, everyone. God bless America.
Thank you, Dennis. Charlie, you're next.
Sure, thank you. I want to thank the Randolph, Holbrook, and Braintree Democratic Town Committees for having us here today, taking time out of their busy weekend so they can help educate voters on county commissioner positions. As we already talked about, it's not, everyone doesn't know what county commissioners do. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to have us here and let people meet us. Again, my name is Charlie Ryan. I am a candidate for Norfolk County Commissioner. I am a Braintree Town Councilor. Been involved with my community for the past 20 years. I've been involved in the town of Braintree, and I love the town of Braintree, and I was very lucky to settle in Braintree about 23 years ago. I think that the combination of my municipal experience, being involved with my community, my county experience, being on the advisory board for the past 16 years, my professional experience, where I oversee a staff of operations and maintenance and engineering staff of over 200, and my educational background, having an engineering degree and an MBA, make me well suited to be able to hit the ground running on day one if I'm lucky enough to be elected as county commissioner on September 1st. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I grew up in Reedville, right next to Dedham, and when I was old enough to vote, my father took me down and said, "You're registering to vote. You're going to vote every election." And I learned that was part of the deal living in my parents' house. Is you would vote, and it was a privilege to be able to vote. So I've been involved since I was very young. Again, I'm a single parent, 2 boys. My son has Asperger's, and I've tried to be involved with the educational system in Braintree to make it the best it can be for my son. I have been endorsed by the Norfolk County Central Labor Council. So I'm just repeating a lot what I said in my opening statement, but I'd really would appreciate your consideration on September 1st or even early. Like everyone said, the polls are open today. You have 2 votes. If you would consider giving me one of your votes, I would really appreciate it. Again, my name's Charlie Ryan. I have a website, votecharlieryan.com, if you need any more information, but I really appreciate your consideration. And God bless everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie. Richard?
Yes, thank you. I want to start off by actually saying something to my colleagues, and I mean this sincerely. I wish you well. This has
Thank
been
you,
a
Richard. You
tough
too.
race in that we've never had a chance to know each other in the traditional way. I remember before COVID struck, I got to know Dennis a little bit, just a little, right, Dennis, with the Carter Caucus events, and Charlie got in late. There's nothing, no shame on Charlie, but we had some fun, and it was great to meet candidates and have fun and talk about our families and what we wanted to do. And that's the missing element. It's too bad because of COVID, we haven't had that opportunity. So we're talking through Zoom and we're doing the best we can. But I wish these gentlemen well. I think also as a party, we are well served. We're very fortunate. We have some good people running, and that's a good thing. It speaks well about our party, not only for county commissioner, but for probate and all the other offices. I haven't seen myself in all my years so many people running for county office. I think it's very exciting. So whoever wins is going to be great. I really do. So okay, now why should you vote for Richardstady or Richardstady? Well, a couple of things I didn't cover. Okay, first, I am a lifelong Democrat. I'm very proud of that. It goes back to my mom and dad. And so
Sorry.
I'm a lifelong Democrat, and I'm also proud to say I've served my local committee, the town of Canton, as a chairman for 5 years before passing the torch. So I have experience in running and attending state conventions and being active in the committee in different ways. Second of all, I don't have a lot of union endorsements like my colleagues, but I have one that's very special to me. I was endorsed by the Carpenters Local 346. My dad was a carpenter. That has a very special place in my heart. And I hold that very dearly in terms of what they stand for and what I want to do with that endorsement, in terms of promoting social justice and other kind of programs on their behalf and all labor. Third, we go back to, again, what is a county commissioner? As someone said, the $64,000 or $1 million question. And how do you make that decision? Well, I humbly submit, if you look at some of the roles, one is the Aggie School. And I will say respectfully, as an educator, a person who's been in the classroom over 30 years, I'm also a former director of science and technology. I've been on the other side. I have a good handle on educational issues, and I feel I can put that to work in dealing with the pandemic and the issues beyond that. Second, what can I do without money? Third, I've mentioned before, promoting renewable sources of energy. If you promote renewable sources of energy like the solar field and other places, we can increase the revenue without making bad cuts or hurtful cuts. And perhaps that money can go into a stabilization separate account like they do in some cities and towns. And that account could be used to make improvements to our buildings, which is part of our job. Third, I should also mention, my specialty in law is zoning law and municipal law. Those are my 2 areas of expertise. They play well as a county commissioner because many times county commissioners are asked to make decisions on county layouts and county roads. Certainly that's something I'm familiar with as well. So I humbly submit that I have qualifications both in education and in terms of what I do for a living. I certainly commend all the candidates, all of them, for running and giving their time and effort. This might be the last time we see each other before election days. So I wish you all well. I thank you for doing this. I hope you stay safe. God bless you all. And please consider giving one vote to Richardstady, who will be your voice in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And this concludes our forum for Norfolk County Commissioners. We thank you all and we wish you the best of luck. We have some of our candidates for probate have entered the meeting. Catherine Hubley, Colleen Brierly, and Michael Walsh. So we'll let the Norfolk County Commissioners go back to the campaign trail, and
Thank you.
thank you very much for your time.
Thank you again.
Thank you very much.